Welcome to Unit 3 of Organizational Behavior. This is BS 311, and this is our third week, so we're moving right along in the course. So I thought now would be a good time to give you a couple of reminders about some of our course policies and our expectations in the class. Um, First of all, let's look at the late work policy. We do have a late work policy that is posted in the course content area. And so here's our course, and it just basically explains that all work is due Sunday at midnight or Sunday by 11:59 p.m. There is an automatic 3-day grace period, like is stated here. You can submit work up to 3 days late, which means Wednesday at 11:59. And any late work is at half credit. So you don't have to get my permission or wait to hear from me to see if you can submit a late assignment. If you have to, you can, and it'll be at half credit, but it has to be in by Wednesday at 11:59. So of course, if at all possible, you'll want to submit everything on time to be able to get full credit. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that I really encourage you to double check what you've submitted, to close your browser and open a new window and then reopen the documents that you've submitted. I've had a couple of mishaps already this term where people have accidentally submitted the wrong assignment. Maybe the assignment was for another class or for another week of this class. It was for a different week. Or maybe even someone has just submitted an empty file accidentally. So I would suggest strongly that you open the file again after you submit it. Make sure that you've submitted what you wanted and intended to submit. Because if you submit the wrong assignment, I have to grade what you've submitted there. If you submit something different, if you realize, oh, that was the wrong assignment, and then submit the correct assignment before Sunday at midnight, that's fine. And you'll get full credit for that because you sent the correct file on time. If you realize that and then you send the corrected file after Sunday at midnight, but before Wednesday at midnight, then it is a late assignment and it's going to be graded accordingly, which means 50% credit. So you want to make sure you get full credit for all the work that you did on time. So make sure you've attached the assignment that you intended to attach. So I would just suggest double checking because things happen, and we've already had a couple of incidents where this has caused people to lose some points. Okay, so that's our late policy that I wanted to review. So as far as, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this week's work. And this week we do have a discussion assignment, and it asks you to consider a situation where you've been demotivated at a company or an organization of any kind, whether it was a camp group, a company you work for, a class, a school, where something happened that demotivated you, and we'd like you to share that with us. And we don't like to focus on the negative, but we realize that demotivation does happen in our workplaces because it's made up of humans, and people err and have different styles, and everyone isn't motivated by the same thing. So let's talk about some of the common things that have happened that have demotivated us, so that as a class we can learn from each other and take some of these things back to our workplace as things not to do, because we see how they affect other people. So that is our discussion this week. It's based on Chapter 5, which continues your study of motivation. We talked about motivation in Chapter 4, and Chapter 5 goes deeper into that topic. So that is your discussion assignment. The next thing you will have this week is an assignment. As usual, you will have a weekly assignment, and it asks you to read cases at the end of the 2 chapters that we read this week and answer questions about it. So let me go ahead and give you some tips on the assignments. make sure that when you answer the questions, you're using the information from within the chapter. I've seen a few cases where people are maybe just repeating back in their answer what was already given in the article. That's not what we're looking for you to repeat back what was in the article. We want you to take what was in the article and apply that to what you learned in the actual chapter. The concepts and terms you learned in the chapter, how do those apply to the little article that's given at the end? So in the answers that you give, you should be responding with terms and concepts that came from the chapter, and explaining how they relate to that particular article or to the question that's being asked. So make sure that all of your responses contain information, concepts, and terms from within that chapter. Okay? So that's our assignment for this week. It's the same format as we've had in the past. Two different articles, one on each chapter, and 2 to 3 questions on each article. Now, I do want to also give you forewarning that next week, week 4, there is a quiz. So this will be our first quiz in this course, and the quiz is going to have 40 questions, and they are multiple choice questions, and you're going to have 80 minutes from when you open the quiz to complete it. And so if you have time this week and you've completed all the other assignments, it would not be a bad idea to go ahead and start reviewing the end of the chapter summaries and the vocabulary from the previous chapters we covered, because the quiz will cover chapters 1 through 8. So all of the reading we've done from the beginning of the course through what we will learn in week 4. That'll be a quiz over chapters 1 through 8, and that'll be next week in week 4. So I just want to give you a heads up so you can kind of prepare yourself mentally for that. Also, this week there is a great video in the additional learning resources that talks about motivation. So I encourage you to also take a look at that. It's a pretty short video, and this video is going to be short this week also. I'm actually almost done with it. The videos going forward from me are going to be shorter than those first couple, now that you've kind of gotten the hang of what our expectations are in the class. So you've got the assignment this week, you've got your discussion this week, you know there's a quiz coming up next week. I have office hours on Mondays and Tuesdays from 8:30 to 10 p.m. or you can contact me anytime by email, and I'll always respond to your email within a few hours, a lot of times right away. Some of you have already emailed me and found that I responded pretty quickly. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me through whichever mode works best for you, whether that's through Pronto, if I'm online, or by email. So I look forward to talking with you again very soon, and enjoy your week.